Hello?
Hey, this is Andrew with Red Tide Rising.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, man, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for
Awesome.
taking the time to do an interview.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having us on.
I've been checking out the brand new EP from you guys, and I gotta say, I'm really digging where you guys are going this time around.
Awesome. Thank you for checking it out. I appreciate the kind words on it.
So, what went into the process for making an EP? Sorry. I was saying, what went into the process for making the new EP?
So we started it just off of getting off on tour with Drowning Pool. We had a couple songs that we wrote beforehand, and we kind of revised them a little bit. And then I think the majority of it was just brand new right afterwards. It was a bit of a process that was going on and off of touring with Drowning Pool still. But we picked up Mike Luce, who's their drummer, to produce it. So he came into Denver a couple weeks, refined the songs a little bit, and then we finally got to record it in January and put it out this year.
Oh, very cool. And it's such a great collection of songs, too, being able to show all the different sides of the band, which I really appreciate that.
Yeah, there's definitely opportunity for everybody to have a shining moment, which we really haven't had before, which is good. We really all took the time. It was the first time that we all wrote together, instead of just one or two people being like the primary writing sources. So I think that helped with the whole just dynamic of everything, and then also just the level of craftsmanship that we really wanted to make this a really good EP. So I think we achieved that.
So what were you thinking about when it came to your part of the album and what you were writing with it?
So a lot of these songs actually, it started off with a drum beat that Garen would put down, and then I would throw the guitar on there. And so I would kind of base it off of what he did, or if I had an idea, I would throw that down first and then let him kind of write around that. So it was really very drum and guitar oriented at first. Like Writing on the Wall, that clean intro, I've had that for, I don't know, a couple years or so, and I finally got a cool pedal effect that I liked with it, so that finally made it. But then like a song like Sound of the Voices Screaming, Garen threw down the drum beat first, and then I just kind of threw my, whatever on top, and it got refined over time. But that was kind of just the initial process of let's make it so that these walk in together. Obviously the bass is going to follow or figure out its own thing to derive from. I just really want to make sure the drums and guitar really locked in and grouped together.
Yeah, I mean, especially the Sound of Voices Screaming. I mean, that definitely, at least to me, it sounded like it started off as a drum song, and it is really cool to see that it did actually start off with a drum beat, and it kind of has that whole feeling throughout the EP. I mean, that's really cool to see.
Yeah, they all came together fairly quickly. There was a couple of the songs we took a weekend, and we went up to Keystone just to kind of isolate ourselves from everybody. Just brought in the live and rack up, big program drum, and that's where Sound of Voices and New Breed came from. So it was very organic and very just locked in together, because with it, we were just there to focus on writing and make the best songs that we possibly could.
Was there anything that was written during this time that didn't make it on the EP?
Oh yeah, there's a good 5 or 6 songs that are still they're recorded. We have the demos of it. I don't know if they're going to make it to the full length or not. Some of them are pretty close. They just need a little bit more refinement. A couple others are more. I'd say they'd be more appropriate with like The Rising, which is something that we're trying to go in a more heavy direction from The Rising. So a couple songs might not make it, but they are recorded.
Yeah, I was definitely going to bring that up too. I mean, I did notice that heavier change that you guys have made with the new EP. I'm really digging it.
Thank you. I think the biggest change from it just comes from Matthew, our vocalist. He really got in his element for this one and kind of just let loose, and I think that's a big change for him, just because, there'd be intense parts on The Rising here and there, but nothing like what he dished out on this EP.
And you're saying that that's going to be continuing with the next album as well?
Absolutely. We're kind of going to start to form this story of our lone wanderer who is surviving the wasteland of the fall of humanity. And so a lot of the songs are going to be typically about just, the aftermath of all that and the things that led up to this fall of humanity. So it's going to be very dark, and it's going to be very angry, and Matthew's going to deliver as he would for that.
Oh, that's very cool. I'll definitely be looking forward to that. With that story, is that going to be like a full-on concept album, or is this like something that might continue in the future, or have you guys thought that far ahead yet?
It's going to be, right now, Voices is I'd say a pseudo-concept. There is a story that all the songs tie together with, but it's kind of just an introduction to the idea. Where on the full lengths, there is going to be more of an in-depth story. Things are going to happen here and there that will lead back to Voices. But I'm not sure if it's for sure going to be on this next album. Not sure if it's going to be a continuing thing. I don't know if it's going to be like a Coheed and Cambria, like everything is connected kind of thing. We're not that smart, but it's definitely the next record is going to have a nice story to it.
Oh, that's very cool. How has the reception been for the new EP so far from the other fans?
All the feedback that we've gotten has been extremely positive. All the fans have loved it, and they say it's our best work. All the critics, the only real critique we've gotten is that it's too short. So I am extremely pleased with all that. That's definitely better said than some of the things that we got on The Rising. So I know we're definitely going in the right direction with things.
Yeah, I mean, with it being short, I mean, I look at that as a good thing because it makes you want to go back to the beginning and keep listening to it over and over. I think that's a good way to do it.
Mm-hmm. I'm definitely very happy with the length of it and the songs that we chose to include on it. I feel like if you try to throw too many songs onto something, at some point you're going to just be sacrificing sound quality just for the fact of getting another song up, which we've done before, and not something that I want to do again. I want to have just full CD that everybody front to back, they can't deny that it's awesome the entire way through.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see that approach is happening too, because I know that does happen a lot. Sometimes it's just the band that feels like they need to add some extra songs, or sometimes the label says that you need to add some more songs to there. But I'm glad that you guys are seeing the approach of just writing the right amount of songs for the right album or EP or whatever you decide to release. It's a great way to do it, and it's going to leave the fans wanting more and more with each one.
Mm-hmm. And it leaves us wanting to, write more. I know right now we're starting to work, like I said, on the full length. And it's just, I'll listen to this record and I'll be like, okay, I've got to top this now. I got to make it even heavier, make it even cooler, try some new things in it. And so that's nice too, where I can go and listen to the whole EP, pick it apart, myself, and not really find a weak link in it. So that just makes me strive even more for the next record. You better not have a weak link in this one,
So is The Rising still enjoyable for you to listen to and play?
It is. There's definitely a chunk of songs that we won't play live, and that I might skip on the CD, but there's definitely, like The Rising, Cold, C13, we're still playing those songs. There's a lot of elements to the CD that I really appreciate. There's some things I did on guitar that I like that I'm going to try and go back to when it's appropriate for the next record. But it's definitely just the amount of growth that we've had from The Rising to Voices. It's such a big growth, in my opinion, that there's this little struggle of, do I really want to, play all these songs from The Rising now? And that's kind of a good thing as a band, is we're always trying to make ourselves better. And so since we've gotten to this new level, we're trying to just top everything and make a stronger set list and a stronger record. And I think the fans are going to appreciate that. We'll still play the fan favorite of the old stuff, and we've kind of revamped them a little bit. We've added things to make a little bit more or a little bit more intense. So that's also a good thing about growing as a band, is we can go look back on the old stuff and tweak it for the live performance to make it all more in line.
So how did you go about that, making some parts a little more intense live?
Some of it just comes from the effects that I'm using on my guitar. Like 213, for instance. On the record, that little intro lead part is just, like a basic patch, just a little bit of delay and reverb, where live I'm throwing like an octave patch on it, so it just thickens it up. Matthew really is the one that has the biggest change of all of us, just with the way that he approaches the technique to singing the songs or screaming them now. So it's gotten more intense in that aspect more. I mean, we've kind of opened up the songs a little bit more to make them heavier, a little bit more double kick where there wasn't before, but really it's the vocals being much more aggressive that makes it heavier and more enjoyable for us to play.
So with it becoming heavier and more intense, was that a natural thing that you wanted to do with that stuff? I mean, was The Rising the album that you wanted to make at the time then become heavier? Or did that just come from the songwriting where you felt like you wanted to become heavier after writing it?
Yeah, I think that was sort of a combo. Matthew had wanted to have us write heavier for him because he was finishing up his Zen of Screaming and really honing that in, so he was getting really good and intense at that. And so he wanted some music that he could showcase that on. And then part of it was also, it just naturally happened that when we were writing songs, they were just naturally heavy. And that was a really cool thing for us, because because before we would try and heavy, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. This time it didn't really feel like we were trying. It was just naturally coming to us like, hey, here's this riff. Darren would throw it on the drums, and we'd sit back and listen and be like, man, this is heavy. This is really heavy.
Oh, that is so cool. So, do you ever see the band becoming even more into like the extreme metal territory, or do you guys feel like that you're hitting that niche where you're at right now?
I think we're in a good spot at the moment. I don't really want this to turn into any hardcore blast beat kind of band. I mean, maybe every once in a while it might have its time in a song, where it's appropriate, but I don't want it to turn into, just that 24/7. I like heavy grooviness to it, and I want to keep it so that, we can keep it in the pocket like that, but also so that it makes sense that Matthew can go really intense on it, because I know we're all enjoying the way that it sounds, how it feels.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I never want you guys to lose that groove and melody that you guys have. I mean, you guys are doing it right now, especially with the new EP, being able to do that combination of making it heavy and intense, but still keeping the melodic groove in there too, and being able to progress with that. It's definitely the right direction for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely know as a guitar player that I want to keep it riff-oriented to a degree. I mean, there are times where it's, just play the chord or whatever, but playing the riff, AC/DC styling, that's why I picked up a guitar, so that's always important for me to just have a nice heavy riff going on, and so we'll try and keep that up as best we can. I know the new stuff that we're cranking out now is definitely up to par with voices, so I'm pretty excited for when they finally come together and we get them officially recorded.
Is there a time frame for that? Would that be something like a 2017 release?
It'll probably be either 2017 or 2018. We're going to go out and tour and support Voices, try and get it picked up from a label such as Razor and Tie or Century Media, somebody like that. Hopefully get a pretty aggressive touring schedule when that happens. To get the EP or the full length recorded. We don't really want to just release something and then not tour it and just let it sit and collect dust. That's no fun for anybody. So
yeah, especially when you put so much time and effort into making this, and it's a very evolutionary album or EP for the band too, being able to progress into the new sound that you guys have. You want to be able to go out and show what you guys are all about now.
Exactly. And, we've got a merch line that fits with the EP, and, we just got some new stuff for stage just to make it exciting when you see us visually. So we want to go out and show that stuff off and have a good time and play some shows, because that's really what it's about, going out and playing for the fans.
Oh, very much so. And in speaking of that, has there been anything lined up so far as touring for the rest of the year?
Yeah, so we actually go out on our first headline run the end of this week, kick off in Colorado Springs, and we run for a couple weeks, and we'll be off for a couple weeks, and then go out for another 2, come back for another 2, and go out again for a third run. So all those are going to be headline. Possibly going to be working on jumping on with another band for early fall, going support another band, not sure who quite yet. We're looking at a couple options. And then past that, next year we're going to try and get on some of these major festivals during the summer, because that's something that definitely helps build the fan base rather quickly, also helps showcase, a super strong EP, because usually you only get about 20-25 minutes to play on those stages, so we would just play the EP.
Yeah, I was going to say
that for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say for like a festival or a support slot or something like that, being able to play the EP in its entirety would be an awesome way to show off the band, because all the songs on there are just so solid, and the way that it ends is a great send-off to the set.
Yeah, and we end the set with New Breed, just like the record does. We actually almost play the EP in order in the set list. I mean, we throw a couple songs in between them to break them up, but that is the nice thing about having the EP, and it's such a strong one too, is that we feel obligated to play it front to back, and hopefully, I would imagine that the fans appreciate that. From all the reviews, I would imagine that, they're saying it's our strongest stuff, so we're definitely going to throw it in the set list. There's no reason not to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you guys are definitely going about it the right way. So,
it feels good.
Oh yeah, I mean, again, with just like seeing the reception from the fans and being able to do the headlining shows as much as you are, and then going into the support slots, and then hopefully even the festival circuit next year. I mean, you guys definitely got the right goals in mind.
Yeah, we sat down and kind of talked about what we wanted to do for it, and that's kind of what we all came to consensus of. So now it's just finding the right people to help us get into those positions, especially the festival. For whatever reason, we've always kind of struggled trying to get on those, but I think we found a couple friends that can help us out. So hopefully that pays off for us.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm hoping, as a fan, that happens for you as well.
I appreciate that, man.
Oh, not a problem. So, with how busy you guys have been, have you guys had the chance to listen to any new music?
Yeah, I listen to new music all the time. I think the most recent one that I finally got around to picking up was, you're probably familiar with them, the band Red Sun Rising.
Oh, yeah.
They released their record. It was last year, but I finally got around to picking it up. Listened to it. It's very good. And they're another band that's just kind of blowing up on the festival circuit. And I always thought it'd be funny. Hey, let's go tour with them because everybody's just going to get confused with which band is playing at the moment.
Oh, that'd be great.
But I dig them. I just pre-ordered their new Chevelle record that's going to be coming out. They dropped the single. Love Chevelle. They're probably one of my favorite bands and bigger influences. So I'm pretty excited about that. Been digging the new Ghost record that came out, but a very kick-ass record. And then obviously I got to support my boys in Drowning Pool and drop theirs. Hallelujah. But definitely a lot of good metal coming out lately.
Yeah, tons of great hard rock and metal from all over, and it definitely feels like a good time. I mean, I know there's some people who knock the internet, but also with the internet being able to discover all these bands that you wouldn't maybe necessarily hear if they're not being played on your local radio stations, and if you don't see them at a local retailer, just being able to find all of these great bands and being able to have that potential to blow up to become bigger and better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, iTunes and Apple Music is a wonderful thing. I really actually do enjoy Apple Music. If you're familiar with it, you just pay like $10 or $15 a month and you can download whatever you want basically from iTunes. And I always feel like if I really like it, I would just go flat out and buy it afterwards. So Apple Music is really nice where I can kind of test the waters, hear the album in its entirety, and then go out and support them. So I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, and I think that's something that a lot of bands should be more embracing, is the idea of fans discovering you from streaming sites or like Apple Music where you can actually download the music as well, and being able to discover brand new bands, and then they'll go out and see you live and buy merch and all that great stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we've all pretty much come to the conclusion that our music's going to get stolen anyway, so, as long as they're listening to it, it's coming out to the shows, meeting the fans, making that connection. That's what really makes it all worth doing. And then, they're the ones that are going to support you. They're going to buy your ticket. They're going to buy your t-shirt and your baseball hat so that you can continue to go. So definitely all for the streaming.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, of course you want to be able to sell albums as well, but if you can pull in crowds from shows and you can have your merchandise being sold and bought, I mean, that's definitely a great side that can come from this.
Mm-hmm. And there is still the need, if anybody's like me, I still like having the physical CD in my hand. With our CD, you got the physical copy of it or not, but we've got a nice booklet in there that has all the lyrics to the songs, all these photos that Matthew edited to kind of warp how we look, and it's just a very cool layout. So, there's plenty of people out there that just appreciate, not only the audio side of the art, but also the visual that we put into, the album cover, the front or the back of it, the booklet, the disc itself. There's all those things that go into us telling the story, and there are clues in our physical to, the story that we are telling through the songs.
Yeah, and I know sometimes when you download a whole album from like Apple Music or Amazon or whatever the case is, sometimes it comes with the digital artwork and liner notes, but there's nothing like that physical copy, being able to flip through the pages or fold it out, however the pamphlet comes through or the booklet, and just being able to read along, see all the great artwork right in front of you, not just on a computer screen. It's really cool.
Absolutely, and that extends even more with vinyl, making its comeback. I collect a lot of vinyl, and I love it even more than the CDs just because you get the bigger album artwork. You can, get up close with the details of it. Same with the booklet inside. Usually it's a bigger pamphlet. So that's just another, level to the whole experience of just sitting down, especially on the vinyl. You can't skip tracks. I mean, you could go over and pick up the needle and drop it down, but honestly, you're going to be there for 45 minutes just sitting and listening to what this person created.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, with the great tone that vinyl comes out with too, and just being able to see the full scale artwork and everything, I'm glad to see that resurgence come back. I mean, even if it's just you're buying the vinyl just for the artwork, just being able to see that people care enough to be able to make vinyl size artwork again is so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wish it would make sense for us to do a vinyl release for the CD, but it just doesn't make any sense. But our friend who did our album artwork, his name's Adam Rhodes. He basically makes these giant paintings of it and then stands it in. So the actual artwork itself for this record, I believe I think it's a 3-foot by 3-foot painting.
Wow.
So it's just huge, So again, you benefit seeing all the details that he put in on the vinyl, and you can see most of them on the physical CD that we have. But there's just nothing like seeing it in that full scale format.
Oh, very much so. And it's cool to see how much effort that you guys went into to make sure that the artwork would be that cool, especially in a physical format, being able to have the artwork done 3x3 with all these great details behind it. It shows how much effort that you want to put into it.
Yeah, I love artwork. I love album artwork. I think it, to me, just as important as what you're hearing, because if an artist really, in my opinion, you can get a lot of the story of the album from the album artwork. There's a reason that it looks this way and that the artist wanted it to, for you to see this as you're listening. So it's always been important to me to have something that works with the songs and isn't just, a random cool image. And I think that my brother Matthew would agree with that. So it just also goes into helping us tell our story, kind of the lure of what Red Tide Rising is. So it should, if a fan wants to take the time and read into it, they might get a more satisfying experience from the EP.
And then later into the next album as well.
Exactly.
Oh, awesome. Well, once again, thank you for taking the time to do this interview. I've been a fan of you guys for a few years, and it's a tremendous honor to be able to take the time and interview you guys for my show and being able to promote the brand new EP, which is available now. Before we're done, is there anything else you'd like to mention that I haven't brought up yet?
No, I think you pretty much brought up everything that I'd like to talk about. Just want to thank you one more time for not only having us on the show, but more importantly, being a fan of ours, supporting us as a band. That does mean a lot to us.
Well, I'm glad to do it. I like being able to be in a position where I have a radio show where I can control the music that's being played and want to be able to promote the bands that I thoroughly enjoy and I feel like people need to hear, whether they're top 40 bands or a band that just started last week that people aren't familiar with yet. Just good music from all over. That's what's important.
Absolutely, and we need more people like you out there doing it. Now, the mainstream radio is good and all, but there's only so much that they're going to play, and it's usually a lot of the same thing. So you definitely helped, get bands like mine out there to people who may not have heard of us without you. So, again, we very much appreciate you not only including us on the show, but being a fan and going out and supporting us in that way.
Well, I'm glad to be of service.